Well, Orlando, it's a pleasure speaking with you about your comedy. I've checked out I checked first of all I checked out your show, your comedy special on HBO called Adorable.
Adorable. Yeah.
Yeah, and do you still have the big hair, or you cut it?
Yeah, no, it's there. It's just back. It's just and I'll pull back in a hair tie. I give it. Yesterday was a day where it was all out and living his best life, and today, I like to humble it sometimes. Like, yo, tone it down, brother.
Most excellent. Let's start off the bat about your HBO special, because that was a couple of years ago. What was the feeling when you when HBO told you that you were going to get that they were going to take your stand up?
It didn't hit me right away because I have this way of being where I don't celebrate too much. I kind of like, I have that coming from immigrant family. You kind of put your head down and you work for 10 years and then you bring your head up and then you're there. But the day of the filming, it hit me. Like as I'm coming out onto the stage, it hit me like, oh, this is a special moment, which was perfect because when you tend not to be present having those moments and you don't acknowledge that you're having that moment, you tend to plow through the moment and not really give the performance that you want to give. Sometimes you go a little bit too fast. Sometimes you go medium. Usually what ends up happening is that you go too fast. You're just plowing through your jokes. And because right before, and it might have been something that my wife, Vanessa Lozano, told me. She was like, right before going out, she was like, enjoy yourself. Like backstage, right before I'm walking out. She gave me a kiss and she goes, enjoy yourself. And then that slowed it down. I got to embrace it, look at the theater, enjoy the columns, enjoy everything, and then just give my best performance possible. So it was an honor. And HBO is amazing, but the people at Entrenos, which is Edwin Licona, one of the producer, and Victor, uh, they believed in me. They gave me that shot, and then we did something that we weren't even expecting, which is like we brought back the half hours to HBO. So back in the day when you and I were kids, if you look at those old HBOs, HBO used to give people half hours, and they deviated from that. They were like, "Oh, we're getting rid of boxing and we're getting rid of half-hour comedies." We found a backdoor way in, which was through HBO Latino, and I remember getting a few comics talking to me about it, like, "Hey, man, is your special gonna be in Spanish?" And I was just like, "No, it's all English." And I'm talking my normal stuff I say on stage around here, how much I love HGTV, and I tell personal stories from when I was a kid. And it led me because I knew it was going to lead me to HBO. And now it's this whole new resurfacing of the special. It was done in 2018, and now people are discovering it all over because HBO transferred it over to HBO Max. So now it's Adorable airing on HBO Max. And at the same time, my album is out for that special, the audio version. That also came out. And since most of my material is clean, it's been able to like be on different stations. Sirius XM, all the stations can carry it. Spotify, Apple Music. Man, I'm having a good moment, and I'm enjoying it, but I stay calm because I know these moments come and go in this industry that we're in. So I just humble myself, say thank you, and let's can't wait to get on the other side of this pandemic, brother, so I can hit the stage again.
Absolutely. How do you describe your type of humor? Because I was telling somebody, I think Orlando's type of humor is like the softer side of masculinity.
That's pretty much it. And one of the titles that my album was going to be called was going to be Soft, and they felt weird about it. The special was going to be called Soft, and somebody at HBO was like, "Was that sexual? What is he talking about? Like soft?" And I guess yes, as observational, everything that happens in my life, but really where I am as a human being on this planet. And that's my masculinity. You know, that's a big word. I get stuck on it. English is my second language, but I'm not that same guy. I'm not that 25-year-old where my frontal lobe wasn't developed yet. No, I care. I care too much, bro.
Watching the thing. So you're saying a lot of the jokes and comes from your experience. So
Yeah.
that entire part about like the fights in the Miami, did that
Yeah.
actually happen or was that exaggerated?
No, that actually happened. The ending is a little bit different. Where I tied it in because I also had that discussion with my boss about giving 110%. He wanted me to give 110%, and I was just like, that's mathematically impossible. I can't. Plus, I wasted 40% in the parking lot talking myself into coming in today. So that's how I opened up the show. So my way of tying it up was like, it's okay, buddy. Fights don't last that long. You gave it 110%. That's that didn't happen like that. In reality, what happened is the guy did run into my fist. That's all true. He falls into my arms. I'm holding him up. And then one of my best friends, Jason Alvarez, goes, Orlando, hold him. And he does this movie style cocking back of his arm and takes a full swing at the guy, but misses the guy and punches me.
Oh.
Like he punches me, the whole inside of my cheek. He almost knocked me out, and the whole inside of my cheek there. And it's funny when it came out, Jason goes, "Oh, thank you for leaving the part where I punched you in the cheek." And I said, "You know what? I'm gonna start telling people. I'm gonna let people know how that fight really ended." You know?
what Whatever works. So when your life changed after you met your wife or after you got married?
Yes. After I got married, I learned how to be. Um, it was, I guess she saw it in me. My wife, Vanessa Lozano, saw it in me, where I learned how to be more caring and take my time with life. And she met me at the right time. It was like we met when I was 25. So, scientifically wise, science says that that age is when the male's frontal lobe starts to develop, or opens up, or whatever it is that it does that makes you really recognize what the consequences are for your actions. So she kind of mellowed me out. So that was it. Yeah, she taught me stuff. Like I had a great apartment. It was $500 a month, 2 bedrooms in a place called Hialeah, Florida, in my technically Miami-Dade County. It was next to a racetrack, a horse racetrack. So during the race season, my apartment smelled horrible because it was behind the stables, like across the street, outside of the racetrack. Behind it was by the Hialeah racetrack, and but I was just like, I worked at a job that paid me $500 a week at all, and and she was like, you could live somewhere better than this. And then I go, but it's $500 a month. I pay $500. My electrical bill's like 200, and that's it. I'm done. And then the rest of the money, I just get to party and live my best life. So she clicked me in. She was like, she helped that maturity kick in, like, and become more sensitive, man. Like when I say she took off all the edge, she took off all the edge. When I say people used to cross the street when they used to see me come, I had long dreadlocks down to my butt. I've always had hair, and now they don't cross the street anymore, dude. Now they wave at me, and like I say in the special, I wave back. I wave back.
Well, that's the change of life. Now you do talk about your wife, you do talk about your marriage and so on. When you create these jokes, do you run it by her or she knows your type of humor already?
She knows my type of humor. She knows my rhythm. Um, Actually, I'm working on another Tonight Show set as we speak, um, to actually film it out on the road and then send it in. Uh, Michael Cox, the booker at the Tonight Show, is giving me that opportunity, and I got to be on the road. I'm actually gonna go to Dallas Fort Worth, do a show there, film that show. Out of that show, I'm gonna do 5 minutes that of material, and I still haven't submitted because you have to submit your material that you're gonna do. I still haven't submitted the transcript of it. So yesterday, my wife looked it over for me, and she timed it. She was just like, "Oh, there, you could add some more and everything." She has my, but it's like I'm downstairs in the living room and she's upstairs in the bedrooms, and I'm like just emailing it to her, and because she knows my rhythm, she knows who I am. So
That is terrific.
yeah,
It was always good to have a supportive partner in all of this stuff.
dude, we did 2.5 years long distance.
Wow.
Two and a half years, I cashed in my 401k. I used to be a satellite engineer at CBS News. Her and I had a discussion about my stand-up hobby that I kept doing at night after work. And I said, what if I moved to Los Angeles? And she was like, I think that's what you need to do. And we cashed in my 401k from CBS News. Uh, didn't even take, I could have technically even taken a job over here in Los Angeles. Um, and I moved over, and for 2.5 years we lived long distance. Because in Miami, Florida, where we're originally from, she was at the top of her production career. Like
Mhm.
out of 5 producers that you would call for like a Latin American commercial, yeah, she was in that top 5 people that you would call.
Wow.
So yeah, so that was she's a very special lady.
Most excellent.
Yeah.
So when did you start your stand-up career for yourself? Because obviously you had a different type of career before. When did it actually spark you saying, you know what, this is what I want to do?
I want to say at the age of either 32 or 33, because I feel like I just made 10 years in comedy. So at 33, I had a birthday. We went up to New York. We saw Kyle Grooms at Gotham Comedy Club. I always say that Kyle Grooms was on the Chappelle Show. We saw him perform, and I knew a little bit more about Kyle Grooms, which is Kyle Grooms was a stand-up comic, but before he became stand-up, he worked for Univision, the Latin station in South Florida. I don't know in what capacity he worked there, but it triggered that, oh, this guy actually worked in news like myself, and he's doing this. And my wife saw that I was real into it. I remember we saw that show the next morning. I called down to the Miami Improv from New York. I called down and I said, hey, how does the open mic thing work? And it so happened that the person who was in charge of the open mic was there, and they gave me the whole run through. You get 5 minutes, you got to bring in 5 people, and we'll give you 5 minutes on stage if all 5 of your guests show up.
Mhm.
I think it was 10 people, five, you know, and uh, and that was it. That was the career. It began there, and then um, me being older is what's the name of your cat, man?
Oh, that one, Nino. I have two cats, Nino and Nina.
Oh my, well, you call them girl and boy, Nino and Nina. My dog is called Nina.
Oh yeah.
Nina, but we used to have a cat called Bella.
Oh,
And then, yeah, she passed away. It was beautiful in the sense of we had to put her down because she was really old. But they actually came to the house, uh, gave her a shot here, and then later on, the cremation guy came after that. That vet left. It's there anyway.
yeah.
So, um, uh, I was an older guy, and everybody around me was pretty much younger than me. And then I fell into a circle of older comics, and they just like Forrest Shaw and John Wynn, and then Dave Williamson. Dave Williamson is a comic. He tours with Bert Kreischer now, but he's like the first touring comic that I knew that said, "Hey man, you're really funny." I always like to give him that. And then people like Michael Yo, the comedian Michael Yo, and Sebastian Maniscalco, and they all just, and Louis Anderson. Louis Anderson out of nowhere. I don't know Louis Anderson, but he saw me perform and he told me, "You're a storyteller, man. Tell stories." So within those first 3 years of comedy, I really got the nurturing I needed and the support team to like really do it. I was gonna quit. I was just like, all right, I think I'm too old for this. I said that comment to Sebastian Maniscalco. He was like, "No, you're actually good. You have more to talk about. You're not just some kid out of college or some kid still in high school trying to figure out and talk about, how he goes to the toilet." And it's like, oh, okay, I
I,
got it.
I I always hear those, those horrible beginnings for stand-up comics. Do you recall what kind of humor you started off with?
The same humor. I did try to do, and I can't even recall any other jokes of premise, setup, punchline. That's the mathematical equation of a joke: premise, setup, and then the punchline. And then, like I said, 2 3 years in, Louis Anderson saw me. Within those premise, setup, punchlines, I would tell like a quick story, and then he's the one of, oh, you're a storyteller, and then that was there. And the comedian Bruce also. So basically, at an early stage, by OGs, I got guided into uh, taking my time, appreciating the moment, and embracing. Like Bruce gave me one of the best advice. He was like, be comfortable in the quiet. When the room is quiet, be comfortable. And then I go, yeah, but they're not laughing, Bruce. Bruce is like an OG. This guy destroys rooms. And he tells me, no, because they're listening. And he goes, understand, Orlando. I was opening for Bruce, and he goes, understand, Orlando. That's a black audience you're playing to now. If they didn't like you, they would let you know. But your story has them so involved that they're just listening. And then that's when I started to notice the open eyes and the grown men looking at me like they're 5 years old and they're watching Sunday morning cartoons or Saturday morning cartoons with a bowl of cereal. Like I say that to people from stage a lot. Like, hey, you're looking at me like you're watching Saturday morning cartoons. And like the guy, these big dudes, I work for the power company type dudes are looking at me like, yo, dude, I'm with you all the way.
You are a great storyteller. So do you get a lot of fans after your shows telling you like how much they relate to you?
A lot of them are like, man, you're saying some of the stuff that I want to say. Like a lot of dudes aren't gonna go around. A lot of guys don't feel comfortable like saying how much they love an HGTV show, but we all do if you really dive into it. Um, there's guys that are real strong about their sports. I'm all right with sports. I'm not really a big sports. Too many rules, too much. It just evolved. Concussions. But you could drop me off and leave me on an HGTV show for a couple of hours, and I'm good, man. I'm good. But it's also about the self. I self analyze myself. I'm all about those shows are like, if you feel bad, just watch an HGTV show, and you'll see that a kitchen looks awful, and within a half an hour, that kitchen looks spectacular. So you instantly get that shot of instant gratification. That same feeling you get of when your room is clean and you just made your bed as a grown up. You're like, oh, I'm actually a grown up. I made my bed today.
Absolutely. So, because you're such a great storyteller, does the jokes come naturally to you, or did you have to like basically like discover it and write it down, or what's your process?
The I think it comes naturally to me. I somewhere along the line, this was designed in me. As a kid, my grandfather would tell me dirty jokes. I can't remember any of them, and he was have me recite them back to his friends, to my grandfather's friends. A few of the fond memories I have about my grandfather back in Dominican Republic, and what turned out to be, it wasn't really, it's, yeah, this little kid is telling uh, a dirty joke, but he's also very animated about it. And just talking to you, I can't you see me go from all the motions to I can be, but really I can't I wouldn't be a good poker player, if you know what I'm saying. You will know exactly. So I guess that along with the story. And the more that you do it, like 10 years in, you learn your strong points, and you learn how to pivot, and you learn how to, like I've learned how to lean into stuff.
Yeah.
So I have a thing that people really enjoy. They think is natural. They think is manufactured, which I have a laugh. I have a cackle that comes out. But if the best way I can describe that cackle is like when you really, that's my tell if you know that I'm having fun on stage or not. If that cackle doesn't come out on stage, then I'm not having fun at all.
So that cackle is
Hmm.
real, right? You did
Yeah.
not create that cackle
No, no, no. I
because
don't know.
because you because I sense that you actually do that cackle even in your personal life.
Yes, and like so for many years, I used to suppress it on stage because you start listening to other people. Oh, don't like comics that laugh at themselves. Don't do that. And then I forgot where it came out. I was just having so much fun, and where it came out, and the whole room exploded. And then Michael Yo tells me, "Where did that come from?" It was at the Ice House in Pasadena. He goes, "Where did that laugh come from?" I go, "Oh, you know." He goes, "You never done that on stage." I do it like naturally if we're having fun, and I'm a very generous laugh. If you do something funny, the chances of that cackle coming out or actual tears coming out are very. You're running a high chance that's going to happen. And then I stopped suppressing it. I just kept on, it comes into that. I never understood in the beginning where veteran comics like Alonzo Bowden, good friend also, he would tell me it takes you about 10 years. It takes you about 10 years, man. And it's around, 8 years uh, that I started really like, oh, these are my quirks, this is who I am, this is my weirdness, but at the same time I say be nice, don't be weird. That's one of my thing, which is don't come at people with all your weirdness right away. And I think that's what I managed to achieve, where I've toned down my weirdness, and little by little it's been working out, but people now trust me, the people that do come out.
Well, you know what? That's your character. I bet your wife loves your cackle.
Yeah, sometimes.
That's
Because sometimes if she falls, I'm gonna cackle. Like if she falls, I laugh hard, hard. But she does the same thing to me. So
oh, that's true love. So, you said you were preparing for your third run at the Tonight Show. Do you remember the first time you did it?
yes, I remember everything about the first time.
Tell me going through that experience, because I know the first time was probably unnerving. Second time you're probably used to it. Third time you're just probably just saying, this is
No, no, you still feel the energy. It's an amazing energy. A lot of the things that we have, you yourself and I have, is we have an age difference against towards a younger comic, so, or a younger person. So there's decisions that we make in life that we do. And me working in news, I worked at CBS News. Uh, I do a list, and like what things are gonna make set me up for success. First of all, the Tonight Show, um, Jimmy Fallon, the Booker, Michael Cox, and their whole production team set you up to succeed. They don't want you to fail. They don't want a bad show. They want a good show. They don't want ratings because the comic just tanked, and just they don't want that type of acclaim. They want, oh, Jimmy has the best comics on. One of the first things I did was I booked myself pretty much across the street from the Tonight Show for the hotel stay. I did that. Um, Michael Cox gave me the heads up, and he was like, uh, even though I had already done it, he goes, you don't need to iron or steam anything. We take care of that here. And I was just like, the night before I did that. And I basically just kept myself busy all the way up to that moment. I remember that morning, the morning of the first Tonight Show, I went out for a run. and I did a nice little run and just got some of that anxiety and nervousness out. And then I said, I told my wife, "Oh, let's go buy a gift for Michael and Jimmy Fallon." So I went and bought them both like, nice Ray-Ban glasses and little gift bags. But this is the older man in me, the older. There's a way to behave in society where we can all get along, type of thing. As a token of gratitude, here's some sunglasses, guys. Jimmy Fallon doesn't need me to give him sunglasses, but it's how I'm built, how I'm designed. Don't show up to someone's house without something in your hand. And did that. And then the magical moment came at the Tonight Show when Michael tells me, "Hey, Jimmy's going to come in and say hi. Don't feel bad if he's only here for like a minute and then he leaves." You know, I was like, no, no, no. Sure enough, Jimmy comes in, and comic to comic, we connect right away. Uh, I really remember looking at the clock, and he was in there. Now we're in there for 15 minutes. My wife is in there. I'm in there. It's just us three in my green room. He's the type of guy, he's a really tall guy, but he does this thing where he makes himself smaller. So he was like, "Oh, thank you, and you're so great. I'm happy that you guys are on the show." And oh my god, and we talk about comic, we talk about Just for Laughs. We go on this journey for 15 minutes. Everybody in the hallways like looking at each other like, what? Because our door's open, so everybody's seeing that like, wow, Jimmy's not really leaving, and it isn't Orlando holding him in their hostage. Is that Jimmy's just talking because he feels comfortable with myself and my wife, and that was it. Went backstage. There's two guys that work backstage right before you come out. There's one guy that opens the curtain and one guy that's keeping you focused. Like, this is what's going to happen. He's going to call your name. Yeah, the curtain's going to go. You're going to step out. You're going to step on the star, and you will start your set. Those two guys are there. Very serious, older guys. They've seen everything. They're union guys from New York City, and I'm looking at them, and I take one step, like I take a hard step to kind of like a little habit that I do. I step down hard to feel the ground and like ground myself. Like, don't go up in the clouds. It's time to ground yourself. So I ground myself. I look at the guys, and then I say my favorite kids joke. That's not from me. This is a street joke. And then I go, "Hey guys, what's a cat's favorite color?" And these two union guys look at me like, what? And I go, "What's a cat's favorite color?" This is right before Jimmy's about to call my name. And they go, "What? What's a cat's favorite color?" And I go, "Purple." And I go like this. And they both look at me, and just this grin comes on their face like, "Oh, okay, this guy, we don't gotta, okay, we know who we're dealing with." Like, instantly they were like, "This guy is gonna do his job." Orlando Leyba, welcome Orlando Leyba. The curtains open, I come out, and then after that, 100%. Every second of that performance, I was there. I was present. I went off stage. I hugged Michael Cox, the booker. I hugged him like we're brothers, and I haven't seen him in like 10 years. And then I saw my wife, and then a tear came out of my eye, and I was just like, whoa, you know. But it was like, I had already shot my HBO special, but the tear comes out of my eye because instantly I got transported to that kid who lived in Dominican Republic and showered out of buckets, and electricity wasn't a constant, and education wasn't even a constant in his life. So like, what a life, dude. What a life. I'm good. I'm good right now. I can check out. I appreciate it.
Now, let me start wrapping things up because we had a crazy pandemic year, and hopefully we're going to start recovering, really soon. I'm in Fresno, you're in Los Angeles, so
Yeah.
this is crazy times. Do you miss, the crowds doing stand up right now? You can't wait for them.
I can't wait. I can't wait. Listen, I got that date. Look, I'm giving you that my next date is March 19th in Dallas, Fort Worth, and I'm so looking forward to it. I'm writing out my jokes again because it's repetition, so I'm trying to remember some of the stuff and how I would say it and the energy, the stories I can pretty much tell. But even when I'm telling the story, there's those little words or those little things that can trigger a moment. And I'm catching up. I'm just excited, man, because it becomes, man. There's that book of Becoming Superman. I think it is. It's either Becoming Superman or Becoming, and they talk about the flow and how these sports athletes have a flow where they're climbing El Capitan and freehand, and they're like, and next thing you know, everything just opens up, and they know exactly the route to go, and you can't even talk to them. And I've had those moments, and those are the best moments where in stand up with me, where I 100% connect with a room full of strangers that they themselves don't know each other, and everybody just becomes one. And it's just that energy of going back and forth. I say something, they laugh, they feed me with their laughter, and I say something else, and it's just this. There's nothing else, man. There's nothing else. I know there's movies. I know I could be blessed tomorrow and become a movie star, and I could be blessed tomorrow and become a TV star, or have an amazing podcast if I would decide to do a podcast. But there's nothing like, that you gotta wonder why someone like Steve Martin still goes out on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Financially, it ain't for the money. That's 100%. That's why you pay to see that guy, because that guy, Steve Martin, is no longer doing it for the money. He's just doing it because he needs that connection. He wants to have that connection and bring that laughter.
So as a stand-up comedian like yourself, what is your ultimate goal? Do you find where you are at, what you made it, or do you find that if you get a movie or TV, that's the ultimate goal? Because every stand-up comedian has a different goal in mind when they think they're going to.
So right now, the ultimate goal is being able to become a theater guy. Only a few guys can do that. Only a few. You could count them. There's not that many. A lot of people pretend and they act on social media, but there's only a few guys that are really theater guys that they can grab a 1,200 seater and pack it in and do one show and be back home. So short-term goal, 2022, let's just say, I look forward to being a theater guy. 2023, the ultimate goal, and then let's from there knock it down and start all over again, back in clubs and building up the material and stuff like that, would be something like a Madison Square Garden. Not something like a Madison Square Garden, but it would be New York City, Madison Square Garden, 2 sold-out shows. That's all I need. 2 sold-out shows at Madison Square Garden, in the main Madison Square Garden where Billy Joe plays. Not the side rooms, because I like to be very specific about my intention and where the goal is. But if in 2023 I'm just still doing clubs and I'm doing stand-up and I'm paying my bills and paying a mortgage, or being able to go on vacation, with my wife, and just basically, if I have a career in 2023, just a regular, I'm a club stand-up comic, I'll be happy with that also. I appreciate what I get, man.
That is excellent. That is excellent. Well, Orlando, hey, I've taken enough of your time. Hey, thank you for this. We got to know you a whole lot better, and can't wait for more and more people to actually discover you through the Tonight Show and through the HBO Max. This is a terrific conversation.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you.
Well, thank you very much, Orlando. Next time, all right?
Next time, you got me. You already have my number, or you can lock it in. I don't know if they gave you my email with this, but
No, they didn't.
yeah.
I think they just sent you my Zoom information.
There you go.
Excellent. Next time, Orlando.
All right, buddy. Take care. Have a good one.
Bye now.
Be safe.